Football is live. Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of Football is Life. I am one of your hosts, Nat Maymunis. It is episode 115. And I am with Ethan Cooney. Ethan, how are you doing today?
Hello. I'm doing
And-
all right. How's everybody else doing?
And Matt Powell.
Hello, hello.
And we got a lot to get into today in this weird double week, or you can call it a triple week in between the international breaks, because we are about to go into another international break, the worst time in the MLS season, where you play 3 games and then it is an international break. Can we just please change to be like the rest of the FIFA calendar? Because it's ridiculous. That being said, we have a great show today, so let's get right into everything. And first, we're actually going to start by talking about some international news, and it has been confirmed officially after Inter Miami clinched the Supporter Shield midweek at Columbus in what was a crazy game against Columbus. Messi scored an absolutely unreal free kick, and Columbus could have tied the game late, but Drake Callender saved a last-minute penalty. So the game finished at 3-2, and with that, Inter Miami wins the Supporter Shield, and they have been given that last spot in the Club World Cup. Ethan, what are your thoughts on Inter Miami getting the spot? This was kind of the worst kept secret. It seemed like this was going to happen. Ethan, what are your thoughts?
It's kind of crap, I think. I would like to be corrected if I'm wrong here, but I don't think that previously the Supporter Shield has garnered qualification for the Club World Cup.
That is correct.
This is very clearly just to get David Beckham's Inter Miami with Lionel Messi and Suarez and Alba and Busquets into the Club World Cup. That's like just very clearly what that is, just in case they.
Hope we might have lost Ethan there. Matt, do you want to hop in here? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree totally with Ethan. This decision is strange. It feels like qualification for a tournament should be predetermined based on results, not decision made after the winner is known. I know that the fastest way for MLS to grow is through Inter Miami because they brought in both the best team MLS has ever seen, talent-wise, and the best player MLS has ever seen, the world has ever seen. So I understand the decision, but I don't know. There's so many teams in this league that play and bring in players in what you would call a more fair capacity. Not that Inter Miami is breaking rules, but Hani Mukhtar doesn't cost what Messi costs, and so when you have an economic system built around a DP, players that don't count against the salary cap, you get put in these spots, team building wise, and Inter Miami has made the most of it, and now they get rewarded. And I understand it from a marketing branding point of view for the MLS, but it's pretty frustrating.
Yeah, I think the thing that feels the most crap about it is just the fact that we're trying to assign merit to it. They should have just come out and say Inter Miami is going to be the third spot. Just own it. Like everyone already knows, this tournament is just for money. Right now, they're still trying to figure out who's going to broadcast this tournament. But the entire reason that they are expanding it is just so they can make more money, and that is also why they're having it in the U.S. because they know that they can sell tickets. And same thing about the World Cup. Obviously, the next year it's all about money. That's why they're doing it. So just own it. It makes sense that they want Messi to be in this tournament, as they're going to play this tournament in a lot of football stadiums, which is a separate thing. I mean, now that the stadiums have officially been announced, we know that the Club World Cup stadiums are mostly going to be on the East Coast, and then besides Seattle and the Rose Bowl. And that is because they're using all the stadiums in the middle of the country for the Gold Cup, and they don't want the stadiums to host the same thing. So not only is there going to be a lot of travel in this tournament, we don't know what the teams are going to look like, but we know that the stadiums that are going to be full, they're going to be full of Messi's playing. So it makes sense by a financial situation for them to want to have Messi in this tournament. It's obviously interesting that they still don't have a broadcaster. That should be changing soon. We should be getting some news about that any day now. But it's also interesting, the supporter shield, it just doesn't have much merit. It's like you can't announce this after they've already won the supporter shield. Like, just announce it early or announce it after the season has already been over. Because it's like they didn't want to wait. They don't want to wait for Inter Miami to lose the MLS Cup and then announce it then, because that would be way worse. Because not everyone plays everyone for the supporter shield, which is one of the reasons it's a stupid trophy in that. Ethan, you have any thoughts on how the supporter shield could change to make it more fair?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the logistics of this would be, but it's immediately made more fair if every team plays every team at least one time. I mean, we've talked about it before on the show, but you look at other leagues around the world that obviously don't have a playoff structure like we do because they're not American. The reason why they have champions, that are crowned winners, is because they've played every team and have, earned the most points and blah, blah, blah. They are the number one team because they have beaten every other team or, something like that. A supporter shield does not garner that at all. And that's kind of why it's crap. And that's why it's crap for such a question to say that it's harder to win than the MLS Cup. Though we all know he's saying that because he never won the MLS Cup. Because the MLS Cup is harder to win than the Supporters Shield.
Yeah, I just hope it's not forgotten at next year's tournament. And I don't think it will be that people are gonna. I don't think people are gonna forget that this is how Inter Miami got in.
Yeah.
Since I don't expect them to win MLS Cup in the end. It will be. I think if they did, that's what MLS is clearly hoping for. I don't think that will happen because Inter Miami, for as good as they are, they still give up goals. Columbus really before Miami scored, before Messi scored his first goal, Columbus could have been up by multiple goals.
Yeah.
So like it is a team that is possible to score on. It can happen. That being said, I hope that depending on how they do in the tournament, we don't forget about it, and that people are reminded that the Sounders are the only MLS team that actually qualified. It's going to be harder since it seems like the first game of the Club World Cup is going to be in Miami. But now that we know that Miami is in it, my goal for the Sounders is just do better than Inter Miami in the Club World Cup, and I will be happy. Hopefully, besides that, we get to see the Sounders play Manchester City or Real Madrid, because that would be incredible.
That'd be
Sounders
cool.
have announced that all three of the group stage games for them will be in Seattle.
See Holland
So
score
it's going to be
4
incredible.
goals against.
I mean, if that
yeah.
happened, I'd be proud. If that happens in an actual FIFA sanctioned tournament, not a friendly, we can say that. NYCFC can't say that, and neither can Nashville. So I mean, that's
you
a
can't
badge
say
of
that you got 4 goals scored on by Holland.
Yeah, in an actual competition, you guys can't say that, and I can't.
I'm fine not saying that, to be honest.
No, you're not. I know you're dying inside.
No, I'm very fine. I don't want to get destroyed by Holland.
No, you're lying. Holland is amazing. Yeah, that's it.
Actually, I saw Holland in person at Yankee Stadium.
When was this? Oh, was that? Oh, yes, that was. Yeah,
against
we
AC
talked
Milan
about this
in the summer. Yeah.
Yeah. See, it's not of importance since it wasn't NYCFC. It was see, that's a cool badge of honor. Anyway, other international news. Let's move on to the squad that Mauricio Pochettino has called in. And not many surprises. I mean, pretty much what we expected. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the goalkeepers called in. He has called in Ethan Horvath, Patrick Schulte, Matt Turner, and then Zach Steffen has been called in for the first time in a while. Pochettino has said that everyone needs to be playing. Everyone's spot is up for grabs. When Greg Berhalter decided not to bring Zach Steffen to the World Cup, I think it was pretty much to say to Matt Turner, you are the starter. Matt, what are your thoughts on Zach Steffen getting called back in to put pressure on Matt Turner?
I don't know if the decision is explicitly to put pressure on Matt Turner, but
I mean, it's true. Schulte was the one who started the last games, even over Matt Turner.
Yeah. This is Pochettino's first squad, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It just feels like he's calling in what he thinks his best team is, from the goalkeeper position. So I think he's rewarding Zach Steffen for playing consistently and playing well. And I think he should, because Zach Steffen's a talented player.
Yeah, and
I agree.
Anything else you want to add about Zach Steffen specifically, Ethan?
No, I mean, he's had a good season. It's sort of been a revival season for him ever since his European career kind of fizzled out. The only thing I really have to say, and I'm not even a big
should Matt Turner be looking for a move right now so he could get more playing time? Because Pochettino is saying that he wants his guys to be playing and in form. that is not the case with Matt Turner. That is also not the case with other players on the U.S. national team.
Matt Turner is a
Gio
little
Reyna,
screwed,
obviously.
I think. Like, I think Matt Turner still has the starting job for the U.S. as of this Saturday at 1:36 p.m. On the Eastern Coast. But if he doesn't start at his club, I think that the definitive of him starting for the U.S. That'll seriously start to dwindle, especially as we've started to see his performances for the U.S. Begin to suffer from not playing at the club level regularly.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I mean, there's another Matt who is starting all the games for his club and is having the best season of a goalkeeper in his league. Little guy by the name of Matt Freese of NYCFC, and maybe he deserves a shout. It probably won't happen, but it'd be cool if he at least got a call up once or twice. He certainly deserves one over Ethan Horvath. I'm sorry to bash a fellow Ethan, but like, why are we still calling Ethan Horvath to the team? Like, that's kind of ridiculous.
I mean, he was playing at a way bigger club than, because he has been someone who has been connected to different MLS teams in the past. He is another person who it's same thing. He's not playing that much right now. If he wants to, I think again, it's up to anyone. Whoever is playing the best, whoever is truly playing at the biggest club, they can win the spot. It's crazy to think about that. Like, we pretty much know who's going to start in the defense and the midfield for the U.S. right now. There's some mysteries, but like, if everyone's healthy, like, you can pretty much assume that it will be in the midfield. It will be McKinney, Musa, and Tyler Adams. Whereas, like, it used to, and you really don't know about goalkeeper position. And goalkeeper used to be the only position that the U.S. was good at. Like Tim Howard, Casey Keller. Like, it wasn't even a question.
Brad
it was
Friedel.
like these guys were around. They were going to play there. And like, now we just like never know. It's like, that was one thing that was crazy going into the last World Cup, and that is still around now. Another position that we used to know, obviously, was when Clint Dempsey was still playing for the team. We knew he would start on top. We don't really know who's going to start on top these days, but Balogun has been scoring. He has scored a couple times recently of late. Really good for his confidence. I expect him in this window to start up top. But also someone who has to stay in form, especially with Josh Sargent and Ricardo Pepi. They're still scoring goals. I mean, I love Haji Wright, but I think Ricardo Pepi and Josh Sargent are ahead of Wright right now on the depth chart, just because of how they're playing. And then obviously Christian Pulisic it's the other side. But Chris Pulisic continues to play super well for AC Milan. Quickly before we move on from this, guys, have you heard the rumor about Christian Pulisic getting looked at by Liverpool? Do you think that would be a good move for Christian Pulisic to go back to the Premier League? Or do you think he should just like stay somewhere and continue to have success at AC Milan as he's doing now? What do you think, Matt?
Actually, a really good question. He's at a point in his career where he's definitely a Premier League player. I think the ball being played in Italy right now is fantastic. and I think he's sort of at the pinnacle of that amazing soccer that's being played in Italy. The Premier League is obviously the standard. It has been as long as I've been around watching soccer. Liverpool is a really exciting team. They play really exciting attacking soccer. They really haven't missed a beat without Klopp, and I think even being on that training ground would be awesome. I see it as a win-win, and fans would be frustrated if he didn't get on the field, but I think he would. I think there's benefits to both. I'm going to lean he should play in games, and for him to play in games, he should be at AC Milan. But I really think a trip to Liverpool, where the best soccer in the world is being played, where if they're targeting him, they probably want him to at least rotate in, and where the attacking is really cohesive and creative would be a good move. This isn't some great option and some terrible option. I think these are two good options, but I lean towards playing time.
Yeah, I think because
he's
been moving around a lot. Obviously, he's still young. I think there is benefit to staying where you are, and I think with the success he's having at AC Milan, he's getting to play games in Europe still. Right now, he should play the rest of the season at AC Milan. That being said, I do think he would go better. I think he would help Liverpool. I think people shouldn't judge like his performance at Chelsea as a reason not to go to Liverpool, because there's lots of people who have gone to Chelsea and then their careers have fallen off a cliff. You would not be the first person for that to happen. I mean, Liverpool is talking about him being the replacement for Mohamed Salah. Do you think he could fill the shoes of Salah?
No.
Ethan, what do you think?
Nobody can. Nobody's going to be able to fill those shoes. That's a Liverpool legend right there. I mean, I almost wish we had Connor Davies now to talk about this, if he's a Liverpool fan.
Donovan. Yeah, it's not.
I said Connor Davies again.
Yeah.
God damn it.
He's not related to Alphonso Davies.
I don't know why the name Connor Davies is stuck in my head.
Every time.
That's like the third time I've done that. Connor Donovan.
I think that's going to be the
Landon
episode
Donovan
name.
Commercial where they called him a Don Oven. You remember that?
This sounds vaguely familiar. Yes, yeah. I'm remembering that.
Either way, forget about that. Salah is a Liverpool legend. I don't think anybody is going to be able to fill his shoes anytime soon. And what's funny about Pulisic's time in the Premier League is that he actually was good for Chelsea. Like, the stats are there. I think he was kind of unfairly
He was just good
maligned.
when no one could see him. He was good during the COVID season.
Yes, and he was kind of chosen as a scapegoat, I feel like, which is very odd to me. And it's really funny because they sell him and then they sign Mudryk, who has been awful, like who's been really bad.
That's all of Chelsea. You can't just
all of Chelsea except for Cole Palmer, basically.
And by the way, I love Cole Palmer. I think there's a lot of flaws in his game. Cole Palmer is exciting to watch. He's a very
Cole Palmer to Nashville. Cole Palmer to Nashville.
Oh well, I would love. Okay, Cole Palmer is better than any player on Nashville by a significant margin. I don't think that's a hot take. But Cole Palmer he's not a perfect player.
Regarding Pulisic, Liverpool was where I wanted him to go. Because I remember back in the day, I think he was rumored with Liverpool and Chelsea. And I was always like, Liverpool is a much better fit for him than Chelsea. That kind of clot ball, the fastness of that game, I thought that would fit great for Pulisic. Obviously, it's not clot ball
Well,
there
also he
anymore.
already knew Jurgen Klopp at that time
Yeah,
because
that
of
as
his
well.
connection to
Jurgen
Dortmund.
Klopp even kind of, you could say Jurgen Klopp discovered him at Dortmund. If Jurgen Klopp wanted to take the credit for that, I don't know if he would. But yeah, I always thought Liverpool, just the culture around Liverpool, was a better fit for him than Chelsea. But
Okay, well,
yeah,
watch
but he should
yourself,
stay at
Ethan.
AC Milan.
You're saying too many nice things about Liverpool. Better watch
I
yourself.
like Liverpool. I'm not a fan of anybody really in the Premier League or any European team. But I like Liverpool. Liverpool is a nice club. They got a nice stadium.
Just answer it. Do you think he should move? Do you think he
No,
should move?
no, definitely not. No, he should stay at AC Milan. Because he's really building a name for himself there. He's building sort of his own culture there. And I think it would be really silly to leave that, especially in January. Maybe after this season, depending on how things end, we can reassess. But especially as long as Mo Salah is at Liverpool, like he's gonna have to be competing with like Mo Salah, Luis Diaz, Diego Jota. Like I don't know. I don't know if he's better than those players. So I would say stay at Milan where he's more of a star.
Yeah, at least until we need him to play a full season somewhere and like consistently start somewhere for an entire year. And when he does that, then his trade value will also go up, which would be another good thing for the U.S. men's national team. All right, let's move on from U.S. National team talk. Um, should be interesting to see how those friendlies go, and we'll talk about. Let's get back into talking about MLS. So we go back to the games that happened last weekend. Let's start. Let's start by talking about Nashville. Nashville was hosting, was playing at New England, actually, and ended up losing the game 1-0. Matt, what are your thoughts on this one?
So with this loss, Nashville are functionally eliminated. There is a path to the playoffs for them, but if you're a Nashville fan, don't worry about it. Don't turn on 5 games on the multicast today and hope that they all go your way. If they make it to next match day, if they make it to decision day and they're still not technically eliminated, sure, simulcast and see what happens. But with 2 games left to play and I think a total of 10 results that have to go your way, don't put yourself through that. It's not worth it. What is worth it though is BJ Callahan being your coach and buying into the hype for next season and buying into the hype of this offseason and seeing what changes will be made to the team. Because the soccer that's being played is entirely different. It's fun to watch, which is one of the first times you can say that about a Nashville team, not just soccer, in my life.
Really, it was fun to watch your team have a.
There were 7 goals.
Have
a
3-1 lead. Have a 3-1 lead against DC United and lose. That was fun to watch.
We scored 3 goals. There is attacking soccer being played in Nashville.
DC United.
Yes, Nashville is not a good team. Nashville is not a good team.
DC is the worst team.
I love the confidence.
This is not a gotcha. There is no.
DC is the worst team.
No, not this season. It's weird to say, but DC are actually better this season.
No, DC is bad.
DC are like not a bad team for once.
No, DC are bad. They just score a lot of goals.
Their defense is bad, and it's only Benteke. It's only Benteke scoring the goals. No, their defense is bad.
Well, I think
but Nashville,
what's his name? Gabriel Friani.
Only the San Jose Earthquakes.
Nice goals. to win this
only
game.
the San Jose Earthquakes have let in more goals than DC United this year. The San Jose Earthquakes have let in 74. That's how many
Holy
times
shit.
they've been scored against. And
That's a lot of goals.
And DC United has let in 66. Next closest team is
City slicks that.
New England. City's at 46th. They're doing pretty good.
Yeah, New England's bad.
But
NYCFC, that's
Nashville
46.
should not.
That's not bad.
Nashville should. In Nashville, they got to be sending their fans home happy.
They should close this game out, no matter what.
When they're winning 3-1.
I noticed
they should close this game out.
were not very many fans at this game.
They should close this game out, but let's take a step back here and look at Nashville's season. This is their third coach this season. They had a slump in the middle of the season where they did not score a goal for the second longest duration in the entire MLS season. Only SKC had a longer dry run. They went on a losing run that I think took them from 7th place to 13th in the East. There are so many reasons Nashville are not going to make the playoffs, and very, very few of them have to do with BJ Callahan. And could he have closed and could he have come in and instantly implemented a system with the players that he did not pick, and they win one more game and gain enough points to make the playoffs? It's possible. But was I concerned about that when he came in? Absolutely not. BJ Callahan has come into this team. He has totally changed the attacking identity, and there are kinks to be worked out, and there are players to be added and players to be let go. There's all kinds of reasons to be excited about this as a Nashville fan.
Well, how many players are going to leave at the end of the season? And should your GM is not BJ Callahan, it's someone else.
Yes.
He's just the coach rule. All right.
Yeah.
Who's the GM for Nashville, and do you think they should be fired?
What's his name? I think it's Adam.
If it's the same guy who hired Ake Loves, then maybe.
He's the same guy that's been in charge since the beginning.
Yeah, he should be fired. It seems like it's not on.
So Nashville do have the. I disagree with that he should be fired. I think he could be fired. I think you could look for more out of a GM, but I don't think it's a should be fired situation.
If you're going to complain about him not having about BJ Callahan not having
no,
then he should be fired. It's his job to give him the pieces.
No, I think you misunderstood what I said. The players are good, but the players are not built for BJ Callahan's system. They're not great. But when I said that BJ Callahan is going to get to choose his own players, it's because Gary Smith built a wall in the back and then tried to counterattack. BJ Callahan has no interest in that. He has interest in controlling the ball and combination passes and exploiting space between the wing back and the center back, and then creating a lower percentage of crosses but a higher percentage of dangerous crosses. There's all kinds of things in Callahan's system that fit different skill sets than what Gary Smith wanted. It's not that the players are bad. It's that BJ Callahan is trying to there has to be a metaphor here. But he's trying to teach an old dog new tricks. There it is. Because the team is built for one thing, and that's not his system. So I do think the GM has made some errors. Sean Davis is one of the higher paid non-DPs in the entire league. Sean Davis is not worth that. But I think that he made a lot of decisions and he brought in a lot of players that worked really well for an expansion team, that brought stability and MLS experience and culture to a new expansion team. And it resulted in 4 straight playoff appearances, and it was good work. And now the question isn't, did he do a bad job? It's, can someone do a better job? Can you ask for more? And With BJ Callahan, I wouldn't hate asking for more. I also wouldn't hate seeing what his input would do to the team. And it's not like a coach is totally not involved in picking players. A coach is deeply involved in picking the players that play for him. He comes in and they
Not as
immediately
much
sign
as
the
in
Australian kid
other leagues.
Yazbek. You have to imagine BJ Callahan is involved in that.
I'm not sure about that. I think that their GM should be out at this point. If you already got rid of Gary Smith. He's had a long time, and they have not brought in anyone exciting. I feel like there's people who they have to move on from. Who would use it? Yes, Ethan.
Matt, was Surridge brought in on a free, or did you pay for Surridge?
No, Surridge, we paid
He's
for
a
Surridge.
DP.
Yeah, that was bad. So you guys deserve your money back for Surridge, I think.
Surridge,
from what he's not
Surridge's
panned out.
goal
the way he
output
was
isn't
supposed
great.
To.
No, definitely.
Yeah,
not.
he misses chances like it's nobody's business. It's kind of ridiculous.
I think it's still a little too early to say he's a bust, though, and he's not the worst striker in MLS.
No, he could be reformed.
Like Kuipers.
But at the same time,
he's not Kuipers.
He's getting played at left wing. Like maybe that was more of a Gary Smith thing, but
there are way worse central strikers.
I think what's Surridge's goals per 90 under BJ? I think it's actually not bad. Let me do some looking.
He has been scoring more recently, but still, yeah.
I know Alonso Martinez because one of the league's best goals.
You can't move on from him yet.
No, yeah, Surridge should not be out. The big blunder is Ake Loba. There is one thing I want to talk about from the DC game, because we talk about how Nashville shouldn't throw a 3-1 lead, and this is true, but Nashville shouldn't have been playing against 11 players. The MLS disciplinary committee has one of the DC United players suspended for next game and fined an undisclosed amount of money because he stomped on Godoy's head.
Why is it undisclosed? Why?
I don't know.
But
the point is,
why that makes it seem so much
just
more
tell us.
Yeah. The point is, he stomps on Godoy's head, and then VAR recommends it for on-field review, and the ref doesn't look at it. And this is when the game is 1-1. This is way early on. I think Nashville would have played DC United out of it significantly more had they played against 10 men. I was never concerned about this season, so I'm not pressed about this in a way that I would be if we were higher up and this season was something I was taking more seriously. But it is a little frustrating because I think Nashville win this game if that red card is rightfully given. Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about NYCFC's 2 games. Starting off first, they played the Red Bulls and got a huge victory, and then went to Cincinnati. No, it was not in Cincinnati. It was at Red Bull Arena.
It was actually, it was at Red Bull Arena, but it was a home game for us.
Yeah, but another big victory for NYCFC.
Yeah, 2 big wins in a row. Yeah, so obviously we start out at Red Bull Arena away against the Red Bulls, and we score the most goals we've ever scored at Red Bull Arena against the Red Bulls. What a game this was!
That they've ever
Come
scored
out guns a-blazing.
You could have scored. Okay, and Ethan has left the room after that. He had the opportunity. They could have had it been more.
This is harassment. I will not take this level of harassment any further. Okay. I am 1/3 of this team.
You could have scored 8.
And I will not.
You could have scored 8.
Look, I wanted to. Okay. I really would have liked to have scored a 10. I would have liked to score 30. But this was a great game. Alonso Martinez with 2 goals. Give me the horn. This is a good game. game.
Seattle win like 2 games in a row, and all of a sudden Nats britches are too big. What's going on?
Yeah, this is crazy. This was a great game. NYCFC played very well in this game. There's one defensive lapse, and the Red Bulls racist scores against us, which was very annoying. But also, I mean, this is a VAR issue that we could pose. That goal came from a corner, which was very obvious in the replay and live, but the ref missed it. That it was not a corner, and then it went off the Red Bulls. It went off Red Bulls attacker and not off the NYCFC defender. I feel like that goal should be able to be disallowed. I know, obviously, it makes me sound like
so strongly.
It makes me sound like a salty player, but
I think that that's too much re-refereeing the game. I mean, if you look at the NFL, how the NFL is using instant replay now, I feel like they're using they're using video review so quickly. Like,
actually, you know what? I disagree quickly. It depends on how it would be implemented.
I think there are lots of stuff that the VAR, like, if it's literally just like who did the ball come, who was it off last, the VAR can say that very quickly. Like, it came off the Red Bulls. It's a goal kick. Like, you can just say that over the headset. No one has to go look at it. Like, and like, if it's so obvious, like it is in this case, like, I think that would be good. Everyone's gonna be happier if they do that.
Yeah, if it's implemented like that, I have my doubts about how it would be implemented. But if it's that quick, if it's really like
that's how it
sometimes it happens
should
in
be.
college ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it should. I don't necessarily want the referee going to the monitor for this. It's just kind of crap that, you know, everybody else can see that it's not supposed to be a corner. And then, you know, of course, off of this, like, illegal corner, that's when they actually score. So I do think it's
and that's
an
when
interesting
that's
VAR
when
question
you don't get a shutout because of that.
Yes, yeah. But otherwise, this was great. Obviously, my main highlight from this game is that Tavon Gray scores his first goal. I went ridiculously hyped for this when this happened. Tavon Gray is probably my favorite player on the team. He's been one of my favorites ever since he debuted. Homegrown player from the Bronx. I wish this goal was scored in the Bronx. That would have been great. But what a goal it was as well. Weak foot finish, slotting it in the bottom corner. Beautiful stuff. Great assist from Maxim. Yo, what is going on? This is motivated. This is
Take
wrong.
the soundboard away from that.
I won 5-1. Matt blew a 3-1 lead. Why didn't Matt get
all right? Well, we've hashed this out. We don't need to revisit. This is a mute point.
Tavon Gray deserves the good horn. He deserves the good horn. He viewed our story. We got a view from him on our story, so he especially deserves a good horn.
Yeah, that's an important view.
Yeah.
Has he not? Didn't he score earlier this season, or did he score in League Cup? I feel like
he didn't. Unfortunately, there was one game a season or two ago where he scored a header, but they called it offsides, not on him, but on another player that was there, which was crap. That goal should have stood, but yeah, we're on we had a little bit of a streak, a 2-game streak of homegrown scoring their first goals, and then another streak though going into the Cincinnati game, another first goal for a right back, Micha Elenic. What's up with this? This is awful. This is the worst thing to happen to New York.
I'm gonna go figure out. Is my audio shared? Can I play horns? No, I'll just rebel in the only way I know how.
Well, okay, go on
God,
about
I'm
the
a little nervous about
Cincinnati
what's going
game.
to happen.
Go on with the Cincinnati game, Ethan.
Yes. Yeah, Micho Lenich. You know, I wasn't really in favor of him starting. I thought, it would be nice, Matt. I appreciate that. Matt changed his name to Seattle Bad, which I still haven't figured out how to do that. I've checked everywhere and I can't figure it out. Either way, yeah, I thought it would be a rotation thing, but nobody else was really rotated. It was just Tavon who got sat, I guess. But Micho Lenich comes in, he scores a great goal as well. Arguably a more impressive goal than Tavon's. But he opens the scoring, and that was a lot of fun. I could not believe it when it happened. Alonso Martinez scores again. Great finish off the underside of the crossbar. Santiago Rodriguez gets another, I think his 10th goal on the season from a great penalty. Correct. We could talk about the penalties in this game because Cincinnati were given a penalty as well via handball from Thiago Martins. And I think that this probably is a handball, but the referee immediately gave Thiago Martins a yellow card, which I think is a little harsh because I don't think it was intentional. But I think it's penalty, and I think the penalty granted to NYCFC is the correct call as well. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts.
Yeah, I thought it was.
that.
I thought the refereeing in this game was correct. I don't really have a problem with the yellow card since that's by the letter of the law. Most penalty kicks should be cards. I don't have a problem with that. But I do think this was a shocking. This was somewhat of a shocking game, even though it was in New York or in New Jersey. Still, it I think it was. We don't usually predict that NYCFC is going to be able to beat Cincinnati. So this should give NYC.
Which is funny because for the first 4 or 5 years of Cincinnati's existence, NYCFC were lights out against Cincinnati.
Wait, well, also, do y'all know the stat about Cincinnati's win percentage?
Is it still very bad? Because
it is very bad historically.
Their first 3 wooden spoons.
For their first several years, they were the worst winning percentage team. And keep in mind, soccer has ties. Worst losing percentage team. Keep in mind, soccer has ties, so there's a third option. They still lost more games than any team in American sports. Percentage of their games.
Oh God! Wow.
American sports, not the MLS, the NFL, the MLB, the NBA.
And the Mets who just lost their record.
Yes, they
worse than the Cleveland Browns.
The Detroit Lions history, the Chicago White Sox. I mean, it's
Chicago
bad.
Bears.
It was really bad. I think since then they have to have climbed their way up with how good they've been.
Why does this get a good one?
Because Cincinnati bad.
Yeah, because Cincinnati bad.
Should this be another Skyline Chili episode?
No. Why you do that?
We're gonna have to try it one day. I still haven't tried it actually.
I'm vegetarian, but I mean,
That's a good point.
Maybe
you'll break your streak.
Yeah.
All right, let's move into talking about the Sounders. Now Sounders.
They sell Skyline Chili frozen, right? Like you can buy it, like in the freezer aisle.
Let's get into
it. The Sounders.
How many calories does
we're first playing? We're playing Houston at home, and then midweek we went up to Vancouver, and we got 2 big wins. Obviously, would have liked us to score more than just 1 goal against Houston, put the game away earlier, but game ends 1-0, and it and we'll take it. You only take the 1-0 win when the game is over. But it was a good game for the Sounders. The Sounders, or Lumen Field, has this is the first time that they had like a crazy new lighting setup at Lumen Field. So when they were like playing the hype video before the teams walked out, like the stadium got really dark and was all lit up blue and green, which was awesome. And now I hope
Wow.
that they start doing that when the Sounders score a goal, similar to like what Austin does, because that is awesome. And they did not do that
Breaking
on goals.
news.
We can only hope that they change that. Because it was
Breaking
it
news,
was
they figured
electric.
out how to work the lights at Lumen Field for the Seattle games.
No, it's new lights. The lights are new. They do a great job upgrading Lumen Field, except that they only upgrade them mid-season for the Sounders because it is the beginning of the season for the Seahawks. We get the new stuff when the Seahawks start their new season. But it was a really good game against Houston. We played well. It's nice to have a more of a consistent lineup. Pedro de la Vega started the game against Houston. Thought he played well. Couldn't score. But
If anybody wants,
it's
if
starting.
if there are any employers out there who need to do like a training week for bias, I think this is perfect right now, because
this is great.
we've had a 5-1 win and a 3-2 win glossed over for a 1-0 win to be a great game and really assured good victory with new lights. And I think the bias is on full display here.
Yeah,
it's
because the Sounders are going to go farther than NYCFC in the playoffs.
If there are any office managers out there who are looking to do like a bias training week, just hit us up. This is perfect.
Yeah. But back to Pedro de la Vega. He seems like he's starting to merge with the team better. Just still, we got to get him over the line and start scoring goals. Because if we can get him to start scoring goals these last two games before the playoffs, and he is hot going into the playoffs, and we have more players with that killer instinct who can put the ball in the back of the net, then we're going to have some success. But anyway, it's a huge win against Houston, a team that is going to the playoffs with how close the Western Conference is. Massive win, but not as much as the game in Vancouver, which we already talked about some attendance. I mean, the attendance for all of MLS this week was crap. There was no one at any of these games midweek. There was no one at the DC game. There was no one at this Vancouver game, and both the Sounders and Vancouver have already clinched the playoffs. I don't know if there was hockey going on in Vancouver, but there was no one at this game. And by the end of the game, when the Sounders were winning 3-0, like there was even less than that. But huge game for the Sounders. Georgie Minungu scores his first MLS goal, which is very much a Nat goal. He scores standing about 2 yards out, and he doesn't score with his feet. It just goes off like his midsection and goes in. This is a Nat goal. You just let it hit you and go in. Happy for Georgie Minungu. Paul Rothrock would score again because he is awesome. And Albert Rusnak would also score from the penalty spot. Obvious penalty call for the Sounders. And Sounders win this game 3-0. And right now we move into third place in the Western Conference. And it's possible that we can get second place. We could pass LAFC if LAFC loses their game in hand. against Vancouver, actually. So we could pass them. We can't pass the Galaxy, who are in first place. But we could still get second. But anyway, we're playing well. We're in very good form right now. The Sounders have the least goals against of any team, which I think people aren't talking about enough. The Sounders have conceded the least amount of goals. The only team that has conceded. The next team is Columbus. Columbus has conceded. We're tied with Columbus.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
The last goal. What?
Don't pull this.
What?
Don't
We're
say
tied
that
with
Seattle
Columbus.
have the most and then suddenly say, oh, well, we're tied with the better team. Why
Yeah.
is nobody talking about
No,
this?
we're tied with Columbus. And we made sure that Columbus would be tied with us when we chipped 4 past them in that game.
That game was the flukest of flukes. They served that in a
We
restaurant.
won
That's how much of a
fair
fluke it
and
was.
square. Our defense
You were
is
up against
really good.
you were up against their B team. You were playing high
You
school.
did not win fair and square.
Well, you won fair and square. You just weren't playing Columbus.
Yeah, that is true.
They still had Diego Rossi. They
You
still had
keep
a lot
saying
of
they
their
had
players.
Diego Rossi. Diego Rossi is not that
They
guy.
had Darlington Nagbe. They had a lot of their players still.
They were missing 5 of their starting players. You played against a 5'7" goalie, and you only scored 4 goals. You should have scored 10. It's shameful.
This
Objectively true.
Does bring us into we look at the teams who are already qualified for the playoffs. Looking at point totals, how can you argue that the Western Conference is worse than the Eastern Conference this year? It's just clearly the Western Conference is better.
The best here's what happens. The best 3 teams play in the East and they beat up on the other teams.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
not what's happening.
A team from the Eastern Conference is winning the cup this year.
Name a team from the Western Conference better than Cincinnati, Columbus, Miami. Seattle.
Boom. Silence.
LAFC, the Galaxy, and the Sounders. All 3 of them.
Only one of those teams.
This belongs in a poll. This belongs in a poll.
No, they're definitely better.
Who are you taking? Miami
or
Ohio?
And Cincinnati.
Miami plus Ohio or Seattle plus LA?
Yeah,
but
I think
look at
Miami
the point
totals. Winning those games every week.
Okay, maybe
but the point totals are because
the West is worse.
Consequence of the strength of the East, not a.
So that means that the majority of the Western Conference is better. Look, there's a reason why. Look at how the line of the playoffs, teams that are in the playoffs right now.
I'm taking Miami over Galaxy.
I'm
taking Columbus over LAFC. I'm taking Cincinnati over Seattle. And then we go to RSL, which I'll take over Orlando City. And then we have NYCFC versus Houston Dynamo. Give me New York. And then we've got Colorado versus Red Bulls. I'll take Colorado. And then we've got Charlotte versus Vancouver. I don't know. And then we've got Minnesota, Montreal. Minnesota, Montreal, wash. Toronto, Portland, give me Portland. It's at the top, the East is better, and then down the table, it's more even.
But the line to get into the playoffs in the Eastern Conference is 40 points.
Yeah, because it's bad at the bottom.
It's crazy. It's crazy how close it is in both that. It's crazy that at the end of today, if Austin FC loses today, to who are they playing? They're playing the Galaxy, so they very well could lose today. If they lose, we'll know all the teams who are going to be in the playoffs. We don't know how they're going to finish seeding wise, but we will know that the Timbers will get the ninth team in the Western Conference, which is crazy. And we can't say the same thing for. Or we might be able to say the Eastern Conference if Toronto beats Inter Miami today, which is unlikely to happen. And
Yeah.
if Montreal wins or draws today, then they will also clinch a playoff spot. They're playing Charlotte in Charlotte. So, I mean, it's on the road. It could not happen. But there's a decent chance that could happen. For looking at the rest of the standings, Nashville, obviously. So Nashville is still technically, they could still get into the playoffs, but they need Toronto and Montreal to lose. And then they also need Philadelphia, DC, and Atlanta to not win another game.
Yeah,
and all of that could happen because all those teams are playing. Like Philadelphia is playing, they're playing Columbus, so they could lose. New England is playing DC. That game, I think it's better if New England wins. So it is possible. The Red Bulls are playing Atlanta. And obviously the Red Bulls are already in. So it could happen. But more likely, but definitely seems like there's a chance that Nashville will be playing for nothing come tomorrow when they face off against NYCFC. What do you think is more likely, guys? You think do you think it's more likely Austin gets in or Nashville gets in to the playoffs?
0% chance.
Portland could lose both of their last two games, which could open the door.
Honestly, I'm going to say Nashville.
Neither.
Portland is playing. They're playing Dallas.
Austin are not making the playoffs.
I would very much prefer that I hope that Portland loses to Dallas tomorrow, so that when the Sounders play them on decision day, we could keep Portland out of the playoffs. Because Portland already lost Portland lost to Austin most recently on Wednesday. So it could happen. But we'll see what happens in that. Let's move on and talk about the games coming up. Sounders are playing at Colorado today. So this is another game that has a lot of seeding potential. If the Sounders win this game, we'll move to 56 points. Depending on how LAFC does against SKC, we could be ahead of them. Colorado is at 50 points, so if they win, then they'll have the same number of points as us. At altitude should be an interesting one, but obviously we're playing pretty well. We were able to take people off to rest them after the Vancouver game, so we're playing well. I mean, the playoffs have already really started for us. We got to keep this momentum. Will be the same lineup. Hopefully, Paul Rothrock keeps scoring. We'll see what happens. But the more important game of the week, and even if one of these teams, with these teams having pretty much nothing to play for, is NYCFC versus Nashville. Matt, how are you feeling about playing NYCFC now?
Nashville will probably lose because of all the reasons that I've said for the past 2 months of the show. But NYCFC better be scared because Nashville plays a different brand of soccer and they figure it out more and more each game.
That's true. Yeah, NYCFC definitely have to be alert this game. Nashville did score 3 last time around. Mukhtar is still a dangerous player. He's kind of had an off season, but at the end of the day, he's still Hani Mukhtar, so you want to look out for him. We'll have James Sands available this game, I think, or either that or he's actually suspended for this game. So I'm gonna scratch that off the record.
NYCFC is hoping that Cincinnati will beat Orlando, so that if that happens, then New York City wins, then NYCFC would be ahead of Orlando in that fourth position. So they would have 2 home games for the first round.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Of the playoffs. Do you think that? How are you feeling about the possibility of having a home playoff game, or having 2 home playoff games in that first round of 3 best of 3 series? Do you think you can finish in the top 4, or do you think Orlando or the Red Bulls will get the spot, Ethan?
I think we could do it. I mean, well, we've got Nashville, and then our last game is against. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's against Montreal. I think we can beat Montreal. It's at Montreal, but I still think we can beat them.
Yeah.
I think we have a decent chance of winning these last 2 games. And I think that could see us finishing in 4th. It would be very nice to finish 4th. That would be pretty cool. So, I mean, yeah, I would appreciate that for sure. It unfortunately looks like that Red Bull Arena might be a playoff home destination for us, considering the Yankees and the Mets.
How would you feel about having to play Orlando in that series? Obviously, you've had history with Orlando in the playoffs before.
Yeah.
I mean, right? It's because the 4-5 matchup is one of those matchups in the playoffs. How would you feel about that?
I'm very open to that. I think that could be a lot of fun. It's usually always competitive between us 2. And yeah, I think that could be an interesting game. I think we could beat Orlando.
Yeah, that's one of the interesting stuff here. It's so close that the Orlando NYCFC matchup, that could definitely happen. Another thing that's interesting about the Sounders Colorado thing is that I mean, if the playoffs started today, we would also be playing Colorado in that first round in the 3-6 matchup. Anyway, getting close to the playoffs, should be starting soon. But before then, we got to continue and finish out the season with our Game of the Week picks. The Game of the Week this week is DC at New England, because we know that Matt needs New England to beat DC. So Matt, why don't you start it off here? Who do you got in the DC at New England game?
New England.
That's good, Matt. I mean, you can't just completely give up. Especially you can't just like.
Wait, should we announce this?
Should we announce this? I mean, this is another reason not to give up.
No, I mean,
you have clinched a trophy.
That's okay. I didn't know if we were going to let him be in suspense or if we were going to just let the people know.
No, you know, people know after the result, because you and Ethan picked different in the last 2 game of the weeks. It did start off well for Ethan as Minnesota beat Colorado, but then because Ethan picked Columbus and you picked Miami, the game of the week 2024 crown goes to Matt Powell. Congratulations, Matt.
Whoa. Let's go.
I'm trying to
Good, good stuff, Matthew. You did it. This champion.
There we go. There's the regular horn.
Maybe I'll take a gambling.
Clearly.
No, I won't do that. Don't worry.
Ethan, who
No,
are you?
We should start doing vlogs, I think, and then your first vlog should be Matt Goes Gambling, because I'm pretty sure casinos encourage videoing inside the.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So that would be great.
Ethan, who are you picking in the DC at New England game? Because we gotta finish out the season.
I'm gonna go for DC. I think DC are the better team, and New England are at home. Yes, it's usually smarter to pick the home team, but it's New England. It's Gillette Stadium. It's middle of nowhere, Foxborough. I think DC can win this.
And I'm picking tie. Because we gotta finish the season off strong.
We've had this conversation.
We got to finish the season off.
It's an objectively bad.
Just like in the go competition. We won't say the score right now. We'll leave that.
That one's practically wrapped up. That one is for all.
We'll leave that to next week. We'll see what the scores end up finishing at. Can I get into the triple digits? Is the main question there. We'll see what happens. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this episode. We'll see what happens in Nashville, NYCFC this weekend, as well as Sounders at Colorado. We will be back next week, 1 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, October 12th, for the next episode to talk about the international break and the games that happen this weekend. Remember to follow the show on Twitter at WECB Football. Follow the show on Instagram at footballislife.wecb. Subscribe here on YouTube, Football is Life WECB. Contact the show at footballislife.wecb@gmail.com or at our website at footballislife.net. Until next week, we'll see you then. Football
live. Hit.